And just like that, we're live. The beauty of
Woohoo!
technology. And if somebody happens to be just stumbling on my LinkedIn right now, they'll get it. More likely, hopefully, everybody's watching this after we record this. For introduction's sake, I am Joel Goldberg. I am joined, we'll go clockwise, at least based on how it looks on my screen. And so to my screen left, this way, whatever. That's Dan James. That's Dan James from in front of his Pulp Fiction poster in Seattle, Washington. And at the bottom, I don't know how many miles away, geographically
Like
speaking,
3 miles
3
away.
miles away.
Three tops.
Also in Seattle is Jeff Udick. And I am not in Kansas City because I'm traveling with the Kansas City Royals. I'm Joel Goldberg, and I would appreciate anyone checking this out right now. Let me just do a little bit of intro of how we got here, and then we'll go wherever this goes. This is meant to be very laid back, which I think is our personalities anyway. But as a longtime Kansas City Royals television broadcaster who started a speaking business on the side about 8 years ago, and then a podcast, and then books, I've met a ton of people through my podcast, and two of my guests in recent years have been Jeff and Dan. First Jeff, then Dan. And we have come to do a couple things together and have decided that the conversations that we have, we believe, are so interesting to us and hopefully to others that we want to share some of what we've learned in a really fun way coming up in Kansas City. So that's a little bit of how we got here. We're talking about a really cool event May 15th. And Jeff, I'll start with you. I don't know who the brains behind this is, by the way. It's not me or Dan. It's got to be you. It's not me or you. It's got to be Dan or Jeff.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how this started, Jeff, but I think what would happen is we would be on a call together, just catching up, or we did an end of the year podcast. And I think we just started kind of, BSing about some of our passions and thought, boy, we could bring this all together and maybe we could do it a bunch of times. So, all right, I'll shut up and let you go.
No, I think that's exactly it. For better or for worse, I am a perpetual entrepreneur. So you're just constantly looking for ideas and opportunities. And, Joel, you and I met down here for sushi the last time you were in Seattle, I think last year. And, we got talking about the way you consult and the way that you're doing thing, and everything for you is around your books. Congratulations, by the way, on your second book.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're really focused on this idea of building trust, building trust within teams, and what does trust look like? And I mean, Dan and I go back, our friendship started on an airplane fighting over a banana, but that's a story you're going to have to come to Kansas City to hear the rest of. But that's how Dan and I meet. So Dan and I have been longtime friends now for over 10 years, and he's also a consultant. He's working with Fortune 500 companies, all about creating impact within teams. And then I'm doing generational understanding, where I was just up in Alaska, where we were talking about how do you recruit and retain the next generation of workers. And so it just came up that it was this, I work on understanding, you work on trust, Dan works on impact. And I just got thinking, I was like, what this is? This is a one-day workshop where we can support leaders at all levels, thinking about how do you understand the employees that are in front of you? How do you build trust within your team? And then with that, how do you create an impact as a leader within your team to make sure you are meeting whatever outcomes you want? And that's really Dan's focus. And Dan, I want you to talk on that, because you talk about the impact part of it. I feel like you're our cleanup hitter. Like I'm the number 2 guy. Joel's the number 3 guy. We're going to get on base, and then you pull it home with impact. Can you kind of talk about what?
Hold on. Who's our leadoff hitter then? I know Dan was asking that question too.
That is Chief of Staff of Seattle, because they're hosting.
Yes, they have that. They have
Chief of Staff of Kansas City.
They got the number 1 lockdown.
Yeah, Chief
right?
of Staff.
They bunted and they're on base every single time. It's fine.
Perfect.
I want to assure everybody that neither do I have the skill nor the power to hit it over the fence. So me as a cleanup hitter is a very bad life decision.
That's small ball. That's small ball at its best. You know what? A cleanup hitter can still get the job done, Dan.
That's right.
All right, good. I will put it in play. Look, when we talk about impact, which is really cool, because I have had a chance to get to know Joel, and Jeff and I have obviously been friends and worked together in the past. And it's really fun to be able to work with people who make an impact first, that their intent is to make an impact. And that's the kind of leaders that we want to help to create. And impact isn't just this life-changing, meaningful thing. It's making sure there's an aligned understanding of why we're doing things. And I had this really cool conversation with someone from a large company that told me that effort is an equation. It is energy multiplied by time.
Mm.
And so when you want to make an impact, you have to have energy. You have to put in the time, and it has to be aligned around a simple concept. And so what we'll do when we're at the trust progression is put together the idea of, can you create one sentence to align an entire team, to create that energy to move forward? Because I've seen Jeff do it. I've watched Joel present. I know he can do it. And it's going to be really fun for us to do it together.
Yeah, we wanted to build. Look, full disclosure here, and this is, I mean, Jeff, you talked about being the entrepreneur. I think we all are, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you know, Dan, you're selling your speaking services. I'm selling my speaking services. But I think that, Jeff, you're the true entrepreneur. Like, Dan and I came here from different backgrounds and through a heavy sports influence. Not that you didn't either, Jeff. I mean, you played college ball, but I did not, by the way. But you know, I've been broadcasting in television sports for 30 years. Understood there was more than just that. That there's so much and lessons learned. And for me, that's been trust and relationships. People say all the time, "What's it like to, you know, talk to this athlete every day or this?" It's great, but really, it's about the relationships and the trust and what that leads to, and so much meaning and purpose. For Dan, and I'd love in a moment for you to talk about your background, because I think you have such a unique background in terms of sports, but in terms of team building, that in a way that I can't quite relate to, because you were
I
on
don't
the
think anybody
inside.
can relate to it. Nobody can relate
No.
to the team building that Dan's done.
No, but that's the beauty of having Dan's background and leading the discussion on impact, is it really is from a unique perspective. Just a heads up, because I think people will check this out and come in and out of this conversation, and so we'll say it a few times, but we'll have it in the notes as well as we post a link to this chat. Is that the trust progression is May 15th in Kansas City. It is all day. We'll have the website listed in there so you can check out the details. We want to provide a really cool, unique experience of getting people together and sharing our wisdom, but also building some community here and having not just a, hey, I went to this event and I learned this, but an experience, a memorable experience, and hopefully some connectivity with others that are going through the same thing. I wanted to start with that and then go back to you, Dan, because and I know you'll downplay it. You've got that great self-deprecating sense of humor, but you've been to places that most of us will never go. And I know that shaped a lot of your experience, right?
Well, it has. I think so my background in sport is tennis. And I want to make it very clear that I was the guy just good enough not to be good enough. And so I embraced coaching, and it really changed my life. And discovering wheelchair tennis as a 22-year-old kid and saying, hey, this is going to be my volunteer thing. And it was great. And it had an impact on me. I was at that time not making the impact, right? I was the kid learning, and those athletes were embracing me, adopting me. And it just grew to this thing where it shifted, and I wanted to make an impact on the sport. But the impact was in medals, it was in wins. So when I became the U.S. Paralympic coach, my focus, my ultimate impact was wins, because that's what we do in sport. And it took some maturing and some pretty legitimate life lessons, going to Africa in developing nations, going to South America, and seeing that the impact of sport is far more than a trophy, right? And if you're lucky enough to put together an impact that changes lives, and yeah, if you're lucky enough to get a win, good for you. They usually go together. But if you can help people become better human beings, that's a pretty good legacy to leave. And that's really where my leadership, my coaching style solidified, because as I'm traveling with disabled athletes to 6 continents, the wins and losses were very important. Do not get me wrong. Representing the U.S. was one of the greatest honors of my life. But there were bigger impacts to make. And those are the kinds of things we want to share, that they don't have to be mutually exclusive, but mutually beneficial, because creating good people and helping them to become their best selves will end in good results.
I love that. And it's such a good perspective. And I think one that any of us that went into sports, and by the way, and I always like to say this for my keynotes, you don't have to be a sports fan. As a matter of fact, for me, my keynotes, if I can't get the non-sports fan, then I've got no chance because sports to me is the teaching tool. It's the storytelling mechanism. I love sports the way you both love sports, but there's more to it than that. And that's where you get beyond the wins and losses. That's where, for me, as we're doing this right now, it's late April. I'm on the road. I'm in Florida. Have a game tonight, Royals and Rays. And I learned along the way that yes, it is about the wins and losses, but my job doesn't change win or lose. It might be harder after a loss, but I've got stories to tell and information to gather and people to entertain and to provide that escape perhaps. And I learned early on that there's someone stationed overseas, there's someone in a hospital bed, and they're planning on watching win or lose. And so when most sports fans are complaining, because part of being a sports fan is being a little crazy, a little irrational, and that's fun. But I have to be the same and bring that energy. You talked about that energy formula before, and so I'm really interested in that because you can control that. For the most part, you can control your energy, you can control your work ethic, and then that goes into building the trust. That goes into the impact. And Jeff, in your case, I love one of your angles and what you speak about, because generations in the workplace, that's everything. Unless you've got a team of all, Gen Z or all Gen X like us. I mean,
Yeah.
and so I always think that this whole like we hear the expression all the time about meet people where they at, and it's overused now. But really, in terms of generations, if you can't meet them where they're at, they're not coming to you, is the way I always look at it. And
I think there's a couple interesting things we're seeing right now, and I talk about this a lot. This is the first time ever in American history that we've had 4 generations in the workplace. And even if you break down those 4 generations, about 40% of our workforce right now is made up of millennials, and 25% of our workforce is made up of boomers. So those 2 generations create 65% of our workforce are those 2 generations. And if you've read anything in the news, they don't always get along, right? and so part of the understanding is understanding what each generation brings to your workforce and how do you work with that. I find it very fascinating that the 3 of us are all Gen Xers and we are fitting perfectly into this idea. Boomers, when they were in midlife and they went through a midlife crisis, boomers went out and bought sports cars. When Gen X, we are all now midlife, we are going through our midlife crisis. We're not buying sports cars. We become entrepreneurs. I have met more Gen Xers who have decided, I'm kind of getting tired of my day-to-day job. I think I'm going to go consult. I think I'm going to try something different. I just had a friend who decided to stop teaching because he wants to go play golf and thinks he can make it on the circuit. And that's what Gen Xers do. Gen Xers, when we get to this idea, and so if you are a leader of Gen Xers, you need to understand that Gen Xers want freedom. We expect freedom, and especially now that we're middle-aged, we're kind of looking around saying, well, what can I do? And if you're a leader of a Gen Xer, you need to figure out how do you allow them that freedom within your corporation. So that's just one of the little things we get to break down and talk about. The other one is, we talk a lot about Gen Z and in these kids today, those ages 27 and under. And I was talking to a small business owner, and this is what I love about the trust progression is it works. If you are a, Fortune 500 company down to if you are a family run business. And I was talking to this family run business who they are second generation. And he's really struggling because all of the knowledge is in his older employees who are getting ready to retire. And he can't keep a young employee around for more than 2 years. And in fact, he finally got somebody trained up because it takes him about 4 months to train him on the site. He gets him trained up. And after 4 months, his employee comes to him and says, well, I don't think I want to work full time. I like to only work half time. And he's just like, well, we just put all this energy into you. And you realize if you go down to halftime, you're giving up a 401k match and health insurance. And the kid was like, that's fine with me. I want to spend more time doing other things. And if you're of a certain generation, you can't understand this mindset. And so we get to talk about this. And that, to me, that's the foundation of it, right? If you are a leader, understanding the mindsets of those within you really starts to understand, how do we communicate? Where are they coming from? That way you can build the trust that leads to impact, right? That is the trust progression. Understand, build trust, and create impact. And that's what we're trying to do here. The other thing I want to mention is, AI is big right now. I am doing my consulting outside of this is all around using generative AI inside corporations. And we will be playing with that inside of our day. But we're not going to make this about AI, because it shouldn't be about AI. It should be about us doing our jobs and figuring out where and when that might fit to support us in doing the work that we do. So I wanted, if you're looking for a way to maybe leverage AI in your work, or you want to know how that fits into this whole idea, we'll definitely be bringing some of that in as well. So I'm so excited to get to spend the day with the two of you, really going through this workshop. And, we've had so many great conversations, the three of us together, and talking about this. I just want May 15th to be here so we can get this going. I'm so pumped. So it's gonna be great.
We'll let everybody know. Again, check out the website, reach out to any of us via social media. There's an email, you can reach out to us as well. Any questions you have, any curiosities, we would love to hear from you. And I think that, at least I'll speak for myself, but I think I can speak for you guys too. Like, none of us are those like big time beat you over the head salespeople. We're just not transactional people. And so we want to build the relationships. I mean, that's my world. I think that's all of our worlds. And we want to be able to provide that place for people to be able to explore and not just walk out with a bunch of notes, but walk out with a bunch of connections and to have spent the day with a lot of people in Kansas City. And quite frankly, this is the entrepreneur in all of us. We would love to be able to grow this thing into the trust progression that goes to different cities. And we're in the early stages. We want to be able to work with everyone, learn. And I think we all feel good about our content and our experiences, and sharing those experiences and helping others and learning from others as well. The generation and the AI piece, really, I love, Jeff, because it applies to all of us.
Yeah.
And whether you are on whatever end of the generational side and say, I can't ever figure out how to talk to them, whoever them is, right? Yeah. Or whether you're like, well, I don't like AI, or whatever it is, it's all important.
Yeah. And
I'm using it every single day. AI, in terms of providing clarity and organization, what are you not good at? I'm not a structured person. Works great for live television, by the way, but I'm not a structured person. And you know what? AI is helping me see structure better. It is helping me provide clarity and tearing apart some of the complicated ways in my head. We could all be so lucky, right, to uncomplicate our lives. And oh, by the way, as a 50-something, 52 until the trust progression, then it'll be 53. I'm not trying to hide anything here, but I'm working with 20-something-year-old athletes every day. Guess what? They're not coming to me to build those relationships. Yeah, right. I have to go to them.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock, by the way, on them. What 20-something-year-old wants to go and build a relationship with a 50-something-year-old? And by the way, they should, but sometimes I think that's on us as Gen Xers or boomers to take that lead. But it's amazing what happens when you're interested in somebody else and how they're doing things, how they'll suddenly be interested in you. That's just my take on pulling a couple of those pieces together. Ultimately, Dan, and you've seen this, like, from your coaching days, you work with all types. The common bond is that they were great tennis players, right? But they're not all the same. And I don't mean that in a way of, hey, they're all in a wheelchair, they're all the same. No, they're all different there as well. They're human beings. But by the way, I'm just saying this not knowing, but I know. One guy might be type A. The next guy might be more reserved. She is incredibly intense. He is as laid back as it comes. But once she gets on the court, or and they all tick a little bit differently, which is a reminder that no matter what you build within your team and your office, they're not all going to be the same. You've got to figure that out.
I love the fact that as you were going through those descriptions, names were popping into my head with each
Of course
one.
they were. I knew
So
that they would be.
I could tell you which athlete was which, and if there's a leader in there hearing you say that, they're probably having names pop into their head as well. And you mentioned earlier how meet people where they're at is so cliche, and I agree with that, and yet I still use it with the caveat, not where you want them to be. Right. And so I think there's a big addition that it's not just about meeting people where they're at, their personality type, who they are, but getting rid of your own bias because you want them to be somewhere. And if they're not, that's on you. And I think it's really important for us as leaders, especially as we connect, as we build trust, to give them the gift of getting to know them. So yes, I'm meeting them where they're at, but I'm also looking in the mirror and saying, I want them to be here. And that's on me. And it's that ability to see through that as a leader and to build a true connection, not the image of a connection. And I think it's really cool because we're going to have a bunch of leaders come out and talk about this together, right? And how do we create an impact that is authentic and not simulated or created? And I think that's really fun. That's why I like working with the two of you, because you want to do the deep dive. Right. And with the people you work with. And that's why it's going to be so fun for all of us to get together in Kansas City and do that as a group. And I think all of us will gladly admit we don't know everything. And I was telling the guys, my favorite start to an executive coaching engagement is this statement. You are going to work with me, and I am the coach. There is a possibility I will learn more than you. And I'm going to assure you, for those attending, I will be speaking, Joel will be speaking, Jeff will be speaking, and we may learn more than you from everyone who attends. And that's why we do what we do.
It's a great way to be selfish, by the way. Like,
oh, it's so selfish.
In the best of ways.
Yep.
Right? I mean, and that's the beauty of it. I take that in the baseball world every day. People are like, oh man, how did you get through that losing streak? I mean, we're late in April, and the Royals, who I travel with, have already had a 6-game losing streak followed up by a 6-game winning streak. And I sat back and watched and said, of course, I mean, I never know when it's going to happen, but it happens. And so instead of sitting there, oh my gosh, they've lost so many in a row. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is the greatest. They've won 6 in a row. It's like, what's going right? What's going wrong? What can you learn from it? And as I watched the Royals break out of it with, it's perfect for me. Small ball. I mean, I've written small ball, big results, small ball, big dreams, and they break out of it in an extra innings game in Detroit without a hit to win the game in extra innings with just pure unselfishness. I'm like, this is how it was going to end. I didn't know that it would lead to a 6-game winning streak, but that's the beauty of it. And I bring that up because it's like, yeah, I don't know what those lessons will be learned on May 15th. At Chief of Staff in Kansas City, and we'll have all the directions and all the information. It's on State Line Road and very easy to find, but I don't know what lessons are going to be learned. I know what we're going to be sharing. I know what that all is, but there'll be more. There'll be unexpected occurrences that come up. Let's start to wind things down a little bit for anyone that wants to watch the 25, 30 minutes of this. God bless. We love you for that. We'd love to see you on May 15th. I've got the website up on the screen right now. Jeff, what else should people know?
Well, I think come ready to communicate, come ready to have some conversations. You're not going to come and sit there and listen to, 3 old guys talk at you. This is very much a workshop. Our goal is to have people sitting in groups to be able to bounce ideas, to take what kind of the new knowledge that we might be sharing with you. And then it's up for you and for us as a team to figure out, how do we implement that? What does that mean for you? What parts can you take for you back and try to see what works? And I think that's it, is it really is a workshop to come to be with others that are in the same place you are, that might be having the same struggles that you are, to create those networks and to just have a day of conversations and some new learning.
I love that. I'll put the email up on the screen as well. So if you send an email, if you have questions or whatever, send that. We will get that. We're also on social media. Send that. Whatever it is, whatever questions you have. We're also really excited to work with our friends at Chief of Staff Kansas City. I partner with them on a lot. They've got a phenomenal space, a phenomenal office space to be able to host us and do all kinds of activities. So it's going to be I think a chance to network, a social networking event as well. But instead of it just being like, hey, here's a happy hour,
Yeah.
we'll have that mixed in as well. It's a full day of getting to know people. Dan, how about some final thoughts from you?
Final thoughts is, I mean, we're doing generational leadership, we're doing trust, we're doing impact. And so, and as Jeff said, this is not an opportunity for us to talk at you, but for everyone to talk together, which means before you come, bring questions. Right? We all as leaders face some crises and some struggles in decision making. And I want to know what other folks are doing. This is the space to do it. Right. And so we talked a little bit jokingly about being selfish. You know what? Be selfish. Bring your questions, because I guarantee you, the more leaders I work with, the similar the questions that come up become. And so bring your questions, bring your curiosity, and absolutely bring your voices, and we're going to have a great time.
It's going to be a fun day. All the information is on the website, trusttoprogress.com. Again, you can reach us. You can email us, info@trusttoprogress.com, or you can reach out to us on social media. And I get you guys in town, which is amazing too. So I'll make sure you're well taken care of with some good barbecue. And we're doing a little tour of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum on Friday. First 15 people, 15, 12, I don't know what it is.
12,
I don't remember.
12.
You know what? I'd include 15 if you want to do that as well. Whatever it is, Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, which is an absolute gem of a spot in Kansas City. That should be anywhere in the country. If you like baseball, American history, civil rights, it is a very powerful place. I'm a board member there. So we're going to lead the charge with that. And it's only a matter of time, guys. We're just about in May.
I know.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Anything else? Anybody want to say?
I think that's it. I hope you join us.
Just looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day.
All right. Next to me is Dan James. They're the two ugly guys on top, right?
Exactly.
And we got Jeff Udick on the bottom there, and I'm Joel Goldberg, stuffed away in a hotel room, but it's nice outside. It's actually hot outside. I don't know what the weather is right now in Seattle. I know this much as we're live. It's 8:30 in the morning, and you guys are sipping coffee. It's 11:30 here in the Tampa St. Pete area. I'm going to the pool.
Show off. I will make fun of you later, Joel. And Jeff, you're not going to be a non-victim either. Enjoy the day. We'll see you on May 15th, everybody.
I'll just have better tan lines. Okay, we will see you guys on May 15th. Dan James, Jeff Udick, Joel Goldberg. Thanks all, and we'll see you soon.